communication as they are used during an emergency response. CERC involves experts who provide information allowing individuals or entire community to make the best possible decision about their well-being. Communicators must also help people accept the imperfect nature of choices during the crisis. CERC also differs from bureau's communication in the decision must be made within a narrow time constraint.
The first stage of crisis and emergency risk communication is pre-crisis. Pre-crisis is the warning stage. The event hasn't happened yet and you may not even recognize that it could happen. Pre-crisis is a prevention involved seeking to reduce low risk that could lead to a crisis. This is a part of an organization's risk management program. Preparation involves creating the crisis management plan, selecting and training the crisis management team, and conducting exercises to test the crisis management plan and crisis management team. According to Barton and Coombs, the document that organizations are better able to handle crisis when they first have a crisis management plan that is updated at least annually. Second, have a designated crisis management team. Third, conduct exercises to test the plans and teams at least annually. And fourth is pre-draft some crisis messages.
The second stage is the initial event when the crisis occurs. During this phase, communicators should reduce uncertainty by providing timely updates of the crisis and messages of self-efficacy and personal response activities. They should also reassure the public about interventions that have been employed to improve the situation.
Communication objectives during the crisis maintenance phase. 1. Ensure community understands ongoing risk and action they take to reduce risk or harm. 2. Provide background and encompassing information. 3. Gain understanding and support for response and recovery plans. 4. Listen to stakeholder and audience feedback and correct misinformation. As the crisis evolves, anticipate sustained media interest and scrutiny. Unexpected developments, rumors, or misinformation may place further media demands on organization communication. Experts, professionals, and others not associated with your organization will comment publicly on the issue and sometimes contradict or misinterpret your message. Expect to be criticized about your handling of the situation. Staying on the top of the information flow and maintaining tight coordinations are essential. Processes for tracking information activities become increasingly important as the workload increases. The crisis maintenance phase includes an ongoing assessment of the event and allocation of resources.
Good day, people. When it comes in the communication, the resolution phase must promote personal preparedness simply because you need to be ready for the emergencies. It can also provide some information to become a better and prepare for the emergency risk or disaster. Also, crisis communication is risk communication. Also, crisis communication is the risk communication in the face of extreme sudden danger, such as the outbreak of an emergency, and you need to promote behaviors that avoid risk. The team must also contribute in the process and knowing to develop risk responses as well. And we need to raise of understanding in the population of what risk exists and what they are or how they are managed. Thank you.
The evaluation phase. Objectives during evaluation phase includes communication is directed to agencies and response communities to discuss the advocacy of response and work toward lesson and new understanding. Responders will evaluate and assess the effectiveness of responses, including the following: discuss, document, and share lessons learned. Determine specific action to improve crisis communication. and crisis response capability. Evaluate the performance of communication plan. Implement links to PreCrisis activity. Typically, an after-action report, sometimes called a hot wash or lessons learned, is generated through a process of reviewing records and consulting the key people involved. No response is ever perfect, and there is always something to learn.
Major crisis is fraught with challenges, but CERC has key strengths including 1. Facilitating decisions that must be made with severe time constraints. 2. Cautioning against excessive pre-crisis communication. And 3. Overall, CERC is a model that supports pre-crisis communication as a method to increase the effectiveness of the response stages and reduce harm in the resolution stages.
Communication failure you should avoid and communication that boosts success. Setting up an effectiveness crisis communication strategy. Here are 30-step crisis management strategy. Create a crisis communication plan. Appoint your crisis communication team and a spokesperson. Train communicators and help them develop and communication skills. Bring the board members on board. Close the gap between feeling ready versus being ready. Understand your audiences. Deliver messages that matter to your defined audiences. Implement a two-way crisis communication. Communicate in real time using the right communication channels. Give special attention to your unwired employees. Make sure your messages are accurate and consistent. Monitor communication and employees' behavior and react in timely manner. Perform a post-crisis analysis. 15 communication challenges in crisis response. Let's take a look at some of the challenges that both communicators and employees face during crisis. Too much irrelevant information. Too little information. Infrequent information. No contact data. A predictable situation. Lack of visibility and transparency in the workplace. Lack of support from leadership. Lack of situation awareness from the audience. Wrong communication paths and channels. Inability access important information and documents from any location. Wrong form and content of communication. Inability to communicate via smartphones. Inability for employees to provide feedback. Inability for managers to stay connected with their teams. Sending instant push notification to employees' smartphones. Situation in which crisis communication plans are crucial. Here are some of the workplace situations when crisis communication is extremely important. Terrorism, man-made disaster, humors, chemical, biological, radiological crisis, corporate reputation, product tampering, organization malfeasance, regulatory action, natural disaster, cybercrime, supply chain issues, workplace violence, liquidity. The importance of crisis communication. Therefore, proper crisis communication in the workplace can help you. Protect your employees and other stakeholders during a crisis. Build trust in the workplace. Prevent the spread of misfortune in the workplace. Prevent panic and help employees feel secure. Prevent the threat a crisis have on the organization's strategic objectives, reputation, and viability. Align employees with the overall crisis management strategy and enable them to work towards the same goals. Align the internal and external messages. Keep customer loyal.
6 principles of CERC. Number 1. Be first. If the information is yours to be provided by an organizational authority, do so as soon as possible. If you can't, then explain how you are working to get in. Number 2. Be right. Give facts and increment. Tell people what you know when you know it. Tell them what you don't know, and tell them what you will know relevant information later. Number 3. Be credible. Tell the truth. Do not withhold to avoid embarrassment or possible panic. that seldom happens. Uncertainty is not knowing. Rumors are more damaging than hard truths. Number 4, express empathy. Acknowledge in words what people's feelings. It builds trust. And number 5, promote action. Give people things to do. It calms anxiety and help restore order. And last, show respect. Treat people what you want to be treated. Treat people what your loved ones wants to be treated. Always, even if in hard decisions, communicate.
Join us as we discuss the 7 cardinal rules of risk communication. Make sure to wash your hands, grab a snack, and enjoy watching. Now let's get started. What is risk communication? Risk communication refers to the exchange of real-time information, advice, and opinions between experts and people facing threats to their health, economic, or social well-being. The ultimate purpose of risk communication is to enable people at risk to take informed decisions to protect themselves and their loved ones. Let us find out the 7 cardinal rules of risk communication. Rule number 1. Accept and involve the public as a partner. Seek out for the public concerns to build a good community with vast numbers of audiences by means of voicing out their status, property, and situation. Rule number 2. Plan carefully and evaluate the outcome of communication efforts. Planning has a salient role for success. Thinking and analyzing your content before sharing it to the public will prevent you from causing misunderstandings. Rule number 3. Listen to the public's concerns. Every individual wants to be heard. They will trust you more by doing so. Rule number 4. Be honest, frank, and open. The masses prefer accurate news. Manifesting sincerity will make the content much reliable. Be open and provide the truth so they will listen to you. Rule number 5. Work with other credible sources. Referring to your sources will add credibility to your speech. Rule number 6. Meet the needs of the media. What do people want and need to know? Provide relevant information to the public. Update them with the right news. Rule number 7. Speak clearly and with compassion. The masses will give their full attention when the speaker deliberates his or her speech clearly. To our fellow communicators out there, we are hoping that these 7 cardinal rules have been planted into your hearts and minds. Let us spread this knowledge to make it more accessible to everyone to help in saving lives.
Shh.